NFL is a weird league, ladies and gentlemen. The Eagles lose 32-21. You know, that final score is misleading because they scored that late touchdown. But this is the Lehocky Eagles postgame show. I'm Mike Missinelli with Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner. And guys, you know, at the end of it, they still had a chance in this game, even though they got beat up all game long with Washington running the football and Washington converting third downs out of nowhere. They hadn't done it all year long. And the play to Quez Watkins, which looked like it was going to give the Eagles a victory, he gets strip sacked, and they lose to the lousy Washington Commanders. Can you please explain this, D-Gun?
I've said this for the last several days. There's nothing that should shock you anymore about what has transpired across the National Football League over the first 10 weeks. This has been one of the more unpredictable seasons that I have ever watched. And I had said on a number of platforms over the last 24 hours, this Washington team is a much more energetic team with Taylor Heinicke under center. They won their last 5 games have been decided by 4 points or less. They were 3-2 in those games, 2-1 with Taylor Heinicke under center. The laws of averages were bound to catch up with this team in their favor. And lo and behold, for the first time this season, the Eagles lose the turnover battle to Washington. It's that kind of season, Mike.
Yeah, they're no longer undefeated, Seth. And we were looking at this game as another bop and looking at next week as a bop, but it stopped right here at home. Talk to me.
Well, listen, if you turn the ball over 3 times in a game, you don't deserve to win. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you know, everybody has been riding my ass for all season long.
Not me.
Oh, you know.
Me. Here we go.
Seth Joyner came out of the womb wanting to blitz. Okay. Okay. I told you.
I said that.
Did I not tell you? Did I not tell you that it would catch up with this football team sooner or later? You know, a passive style defense sooner or later will bite you in the ass in the NFL. It always happens that way. Okay. It always happens that way. That coupled with the fact that, you know, Jonathan Gannon had no answer whatsoever for this rushing attack. They ran the ball 49 times for 152 yards, okay, and 2 touchdowns. Now, the average isn't that high. I think the average is something like, you know, 3.6 or 3.7 per carry, but it's just the sheer volume of runs because you couldn't make them get off the run, and once you couldn't get them off the run, then the play action became, you know, a problem. And Scary Terry, you know, it must have felt like Halloween for Darius Slay tonight because, you know, that's the way he played. But I'm telling you right now, the Eagles in a lot of ways, you know, offensively, I just think they had an off night. And I said it before. There's going to come a point in time where, as explosive as this offense is, they're going to have an off night, and they're going to need the special teams and the defense to lift them up. That's just the way the game goes.
What special teams?
Well, but I'm talking about.
They don't have special teams.
You're right, but I'm saying they need that.
You're right.
Listen, they hadn't played in a really long time, but they didn't get really a chance to do anything on offense. 51 plays in the first half to 19 for the Eagles. The Commanders wound up running 81 plays and ran the ball consistently against them, and he couldn't get off the field on third down. There has to be something.
Why can't you get off? Why can't you get off the field on third down?
Something to
because they couldn't stop the run
to get them to stop the run to get off the field, and they didn't do anything all game long.
I said it when Jordan Davis got hurt. I said, you know, they're going to have problems being able to stop the run. There's no creativity to what Jonathan Gannon does. Okay. Even when you're in your 5-man front, you know, they're odd or even one way or the other, and the adjustments are just being made on the field as they go. When they're in the 4-man look, they just double the 2 tackles, and they push up the field, and the linebackers have no idea where they're supposed to fit under those circumstances, you know. So where's the movement on the defensive line? Where's slanting the line? Where's some kind of loop, some kind of stunt, some kind of run stunt that allows you to have somebody come free where you can get this run game under control? And then you talk about the third down conversions. I think in the first half they was something like 10 for 12, 11 for 13. And
9 for 12.
9 for 12.
9 for 12, yeah.
In the first half. That's unconscionable. Unconscionable. No wonder the offense couldn't get on the darn field because we couldn't get off the field defensively. And every single down, I mean, I'm so sick and tired of seeing this sticks defense. You know, even when it's 3rd and 8, the cornerbacks are back off the ball.
12 yards off the ball.
You're just going to concede it without ever challenging the wide receivers to try to get off the field. And Nick Sirianni's mad when he's going into the locker room at halftime. He should have been mad and went in and wrung Jonathan Gannon's damn neck. That's what he should have done.
You know, here's the whole thing, though. They, as sluggish as they were hanging in there, and you just thought that they were going to do something like they do every week, which is to get a drive that wins the game.
Why? They haven't done it all year, Mike.
No, you're right, but they started to wake up. I thought Hurts hit Watkins over the middle in a big first down, and then he came back to Goddard, and they got that touchdown to Devontae Smith and made it 23-21. And you were talking about it. Taylor Heineke is just waiting to give this game back to the Eagles, and he did. He got greedy on a 3rd down, and he threw a pass that he really should have drilled in there, and he floated it, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson intercepts it. And then the Goddard play happens.
Yes.
This is something we haven't seen all year,
right,
where they get the other team kind of hands it to them. They usually take advantage of that. They did not take advantage of it tonight.
No, absolutely not. You know, and I'm not going to attribute it to layoff, because this is one of the healthier teams in the National Football League. A team that can turn it on and turn it off the way they have offensively. It's not about layoff. They were well rested. They needed to get some players nicked up. They ran into a team that finally knew how to neutralize them. Houston set the blueprint on a Thursday night. Lowly Houston ran for $163, and a kid named Damian Pierce had $139 against this. So what did Washington do? It's quite obvious now. Washington's offensive line is built for run blocking more so than pass blocking. They came out and asserted themselves right from the start. And, Mike, the thing that shocked me the most was they weren't running outside plays. They were running right between the tackles from start to finish against this Eagles defense, and Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox could do nothing about it. And, Steph, we talk about this all the time. When you have big tackles like this, you don't run away from them. You run right at them. But your defensive coordinator does not make any adjustments to stop it, not even at halftime.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, you know, the way the NFL defensively is so fundamentally unsound. It's hard to watch a game and watch how they play. Fletcher Cox knows that he's going to get double teamed, but guess what he does? Instead of firing off the ball or going through a gap, he's just standing straight up. So now you got 600 pounds pushing on 300 pounds to standing straight up. What the heck do you think is going to happen? So they push him off the ball 4 to 5 yards, and by the time, you know, the linebackers can decipher what's going on, because they don't know, they can't tell whether the back is going to the right or going to the left. If the back comes one way or the other, now your gap is defined. Now you got to come downhill, and you got to take that guard off his shoulder, you know, to the side to you. But when the back is running straight ahead, they don't know whether to go outside or inside. So they're standing there trying to figure it out. While they're figuring it out, Fletcher and Javon Hargrave are getting pushed 4 or 5 yards off the ball. By the time they react, he's got 4 or 5 yards down the field.
All right, so who are the linebackers at fault? Are you absolving the linebackers? Are we absolving? Here's what I thought, that sometimes you gotta box it up a little bit. Sometimes
linebackers are gonna come and fill the gaps. They gotta step in.
Well, they have to, but don't you have to then? If you want to stop the run, don't you have to get more people in the box at some point?
Well, listen, this is the NFL that we live in. Even when you get 2 tight ends, you get 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, you know, and 1 back. Teams still play nickel situations. They don't bring the other linebacker back on the field, you know. So in a lot of these situations, this is what the Eagles face. You face regular personnel, but you're playing dime, so you're asking a safety to get down in the box and play as a linebacker, where the adjustment should be bring another damn linebacker on the field, so now you got more muscle, somebody that's used to playing that position. But Listen, at the other end of the spectrum, Mike, what has to happen, okay? I don't know if you call the Eagles' defensive line small. I'm not so sure that you call them small, okay? But when you're getting pushed off the ball, the worst thing you can do is line up with a 2 technique and a 3 technique every single play and you never have any movement, okay? Because now the blocking schemes are defined. You got to start moving guys, not only before the snap, but at the snap. Have guys jump gaps. Have guys, and you have to have some games, and you have to have some run blitzes against these teams who run the football against you, because it's pretty evident to me you don't have the muscle, the size, or the will to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage without Jordan Davis.
It is shocking to me that you can go through a whole game not making adjustments when the team is clearly defining exactly what they're going to do fundamentally against you. They're going to run the football.
Let me see a piece of paper you got over there.
There's nothing flashy about Washington's offense.
One of those big pieces of paper.
One of these pieces of paper?
Let me see it.
All right, there you go. That's my script, so don't lose it.
I'm going to hand it back to you in a second.
What are you doing?
This right here is Jonathan Gannon's call sheet. I'm serious. You watch him all game long. This is his call sheet, okay? So if this is your call sheet for a game, when you look at an offensive coordinator and he's got a flip chart that looks like this, okay? How much adjustments do you expect out of this?
Well, listen, Seth, the only thing I'm asking fundamentally, how many defensive coaches do they have on this team where you go, hey, John, how about we do this? They're just running the football against us, between tackles. They're doing it all game. That's their game plan. We got to somehow change it up when we get off the field on third down. They go get off the field on third down against this team. This team is not a great third down team.
Hey, listen, I don't think they blitzed one time tonight. I think the last 2 games they've blitzed maybe twice, maybe once or twice. And everybody keeps going in on me about, he just wants to blitz.
How many weeks have I been
a run
saying,
blitz would have been necessary tonight?
How many weeks have I been saying this 4-man front is not good enough to get home? With the money invested in this 4-man front, how many weeks have you heard me say that in a row?
D-Gun, you're 100% correct, but why do you think they moved up in the draft to go get Jordan Davis? Because you know what? They couldn't stop anybody from running the ball on them last year.
I get that.
With the other 2 guys that they had.
I get that.
So now the whole how do you defeat the run? You're going to defeat the run. Back in my day, you could defeat the run with a 4-man line and 2 or 3 linebackers on the field. Now, what they're telling us now is that offensive line play is so intricate and it's so powerful that you have to have a 5-man front in order to control the run. And I don't believe that. I think the linebackers are not being coached well enough to be able to react to what they see, and they're confused about where they fit within the scheme. The integrity of defensive fronts are just shot, okay? If I'm a left defensive end and the ball goes away, my first job is to make sure that nothing's coming back, okay? These guys don't do that. The minute the ball goes away, they start chasing. And then here comes the bootleg. They're just fundamentally unsound. And I don't understand how coaches allow them to play this way. They got the wrong foot up. Their eyes aren't in the right place. All of these things that makes a defense sound and effective and good before the ball is even snapped. What are you reading, linebackers? What are you keying? What are you keying when it's play action pass and the offensive lineman is standing straight up, but you're biting up on play action? Why? They're just so fundamentally unsound, okay, that as an offensive coordinator, you can game plan against their unsoundness, against the fact that they're technically and fundamentally unsound.
Yeah. All right. So listen, they won 8 straight games, but I'm looking at this game and I'm going. I can read a chart just like anybody else. I can read statistics. The Commanders came into this game, the last 3 games, running the ball almost 50% of the time.
Yes.
That's the 6th highest rate in the NFL over that span. If you're a defensive coaching staff, you go, they're going to run the ball.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it that difficult?
You've preached it up until kickoff, they are going to establish the run. Every talk show format that you listen to, that I've been a part of leading up to this game, that's all we talked about. Washington is going to try to establish the run. If we know that, how does the coaching staff not know that?
I don't. Again, it's flabbergasting to me that, and then once they do it, maybe you thought you were just so good it wasn't going to matter. But once they start doing it, and they're keeping your offense off the field, a good coaching staff adjusts to that, figures out a way to stop it.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Fold that piece of paper up again and hold it up, okay? There's not a whole lot of adjustments that's going on one sheet of paper. And you want to know the most egregious thing? The most egregious thing is that you didn't adjust it based upon what happened last week, okay? So guess what's going to happen? You going to Indianapolis next week. You think Jonathan Taylor, who just ran for 166 yards yesterday, you think he ain't drooling off his face mask?
I'm telling you.
You think that
and that kid can dip to the outside.
Yeah, you think Derrick Henry ain't drooling off his face mask, and you think Saquon ain't drooling twice off his face mask?
Don't forget about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon coming to town as well.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Are you kidding me?
I said it.
And you got Tony Pollard coming up Christmas Eve.
It is clearly the template on what you have to do against the Philadelphia Eagles, and now it's up to them to adjust. I will say this, though, because I know a lot of Eagle fans are thinking the same thing, that there was a face mask that they missed on Goddard, and that really should not have been a turnover.
No, it should not have.
And so I don't know if you want to throw that into the equation, you can go ahead and throw it into the equation. But it doesn't erase the fact that they got housed with the Washington Commanders running the football against them. All right.